When she chose another man, she didn't do it with drama. There were no tears, no raised voices, just a calm decision delivered with a confidence that felt unsettling. She told me she'd met someone who understood her better, someone who felt right to her. I listened without interrupting, nodded once, and stood up. She seemed surprised that I didn't argue or ask for details. I didn't beg her to stay or demand explanations. I simply walked away, not out of pride, but out of clarity. Sometimes, when someone chooses a different direction, the most honest response is to let them go without resistance. As I closed the door behind me, I felt an unfamiliar mix of grief and relief. Grief for the future we had imagined. Relief that the uncertainty was finally over. She had expected me to fight for her. What she hadn't expected was my silence. Silence can be unsettling when someone is prepared for chaos. That quiet was my boundary, and the beginning of something neither of us saw coming. Our relationship hadn't ended all at once. It had been wearing down slowly through comparison and distance. I noticed how often she mentioned him. At first casually, then with a kind of admiration she no longer saved for me. I tried to address it calmly, but my concerns were dismissed as insecurity. Over time, I stopped explaining how it felt. I believed patience would protect what we had built. Instead, it taught her that my presence was guaranteed. When she finally chose him, it hurt, but it also confirmed what I'd sensed for months. I understood then that staying and competing would only cost me my self-respect. Walking away wasn't weakness. It was alignment. I didn't storm out. I didn't announce anything. I simply removed myself from a situation where I was no longer chosen. That kind of ending feels final in a way arguments never do. And finality changes how people respond. The days that followed were quiet. No emotional messages. No attempts to pull me back. I focused on routine, work, exercise, sleep. Quiet has a way of healing you when you stop resisting it. Friends asked questions. I gave short answers. I wasn't interested in retelling the story. I needed distance, not validation. Meanwhile, she posted photos, smiling confidently beside him, letting the world know she had moved on. I didn't block her. I didn't respond. I wasn't watching. I was rebuilding. That kind of detachment unsettles people more than anger ever could. Anger keeps connections alive. Silence allows them to fade. I thought that was the end. I assumed she'd continue forward, satisfied with her decision. I never imagined she would come back. And that's why what happened next shocked not only me, but everyone around us. Weeks later, things reached me indirectly. Mutual friends mentioned tension, arguments, pressures she hadn't anticipated. The man she chose looked confident in public, but privately things were complicated. Excitement had quickly been replaced by expectations. Still, I stayed out of it. Their relationship wasn't my concern anymore. Then one evening, she appeared unexpectedly. No warning. No announcement. She stood there uncertain, holding words she hadn't practiced enough. She said she needed to talk. I listened calmly, without inviting her in. She spoke about confusion, mistakes, and how things hadn't unfolded the way she imagined. I noticed what was missing: confidence. Where certainty once lived, doubt had taken its place. Choosing someone else had felt powerful. Living with that choice felt heavier. The moment caught me off guard because I hadn't prepared for it. I had moved forward assuming there was no return. Apparently, she hadn't. She admitted she never expected me to disappear so completely. She thought I would wait, or at least remain emotionally available. My silence had forced her to face life without my steadiness. I didn't interrupt. I didn't remind her why she left. I simply listened. When she finished, she asked if we could start over. I told her calmly that starting over requires two people choosing each other at the same time, and that moment had already passed. Her decision hadn't just ended the relationship. It had permanently changed it. Shock crossed her face, followed by realization. She had expected anger she could manage. She wasn't prepared for certainty she couldn't negotiate. That certainty filled the space between us. I wasn't punishing her. I was protecting what I had rebuilt. Walking away once had been hard. Walking backward now would have undone growth that had already cost me enough. Word spread quickly. People were surprised by how firm I was, how calm. They expected reconciliation, drama, or at least hesitation. Instead, they saw boundaries. Boundaries confuse people when they're used to unlimited access. I realized how often I had been the emotional anchor in the relationship, providing stability without asking for recognition. Its absence revealed its value. She struggled with that reality, not because she wanted me back, but because she missed what my presence made possible. There's a difference. Growth taught me to recognize it. I didn't celebrate her regret. I didn't shame her. I stayed aligned with my decision. Alignment brings peace, even when the outcome is uncomfortable. I learned that being chosen once doesn't mean you should accept being second later. Life continued quietly. I focused on goals I had postponed, friendships I had neglected, and parts of myself I had minimized. Confidence returned, not the loud kind, but the steady kind. I stopped measuring my worth through relationships, and that shift changed everything. People noticed. Opportunities followed. Peace settled in. I no longer wondered what could have been. I knew exactly what was, and that was enough. Her return wasn't a victory for me. It was confirmation that walking away had been the right choice. Sometimes the hardest decision is also the clearest one. When you choose yourself, you stop being an option for people who only value you once you're gone. She chose another man, believing it was the better option. I walked away without looking back, believing I deserved clarity. I never expected her to return, and I didn't expect the shock that followed, for her or for those watching. Calm distance revealed truths arguments never could. Walking away didn't make me lose anything real. It showed me my worth. Sometimes the strongest move isn't fighting to be chosen. It's leaving when you're no longer